Without further ado, I present to you Shanti Douglas.
Thanks so much, Kai. And I'm just super, super appreciative of everyone being here today. You know, this is such an important topic. We eat through the day. We need food. It energizes us. It comforts us. It brings us together. I mean, think about any celebration, anything that you want to, even join forces with other people. There's typically food right there. And while food can be such an important gift for our life, including keeping us healthy and keeping us even progressively motivated, there can also be some challenges that we have with it. I know for myself, I've experienced a lot of challenges with food over my lifetime. But as a mindfulness practitioner for the last 25 years or so, mindful eating is probably one of my favorite things to do, because every time that I stop and I notice that I'm eating, I feel like I'm bringing in more health. But I will share with you, I am definitely not perfect by any means. Actually, just last night, I got a pretty disruptive call from one of my kids. Situation was happening with them. I'm listening to them over the phone, and all of a sudden, not knowing it in the moment, but I get up and I start going to the kitchen and opening up the cupboards and grabbing the crunchy, snacky food that I really tried not to eat that much. And I just started gobbling so much up. And then I took a pause and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is all unconscious eating. Why are you doing this? This is not healthy in any regard. So I just share that because even though I've been practicing with this for so many years, I still do have those moments where I'm not completely present with my food. And, this is when we have to offer ourselves a lot of kindness and compassion, which is a huge another part of my practice. So I've got some questions for you here. I know I'm not the only one that does some mindless eating occasionally, and we have a poll coming up. And I'd like to ask you, when do you find yourself mindlessly eating? Do you find yourself when you're stressed, when you're frustrated, right? This is actually part of the stress relief practice that we have. You'll probably notice that when you're stressed, you don't go to something that's really smooth. Most of the time, it's something that's crunchy. There's a sort of action that comes with that. How about when you're bored at the end of the day, the middle of the day, sort of like, what do I have going on here? How about, when you're paying attention to other things, when you're in a meeting, when you're driving, when you're having a conversation, right? Even maybe while you're preparing dinner or something like that. Do you find yourself mindlessly eating when you're tired and you need energy, right? This is the signal of your body saying, yeah, let's give ourselves a boost. And how about when you're celebrating that success from the day with your kids, with your family, with your community, right? There's food right there. I'm engaged in the conversation. I'm not really aware of how much I'm putting on my plate. Or my favorite thing are those potlucks. There's so much interesting food to try out from our friends and our neighbors. Mindless eating can also come when you're getting hangry. I experience being hanger sometimes, right? When you're so hungry, you haven't eaten for a while, you just eat anything. So where are you with that? Let's check the poll. Right. So you have an opportunity to do one right here in the poll. Hopefully you can see the poll. Somebody else is sharing, I love snacking while making dinner. Stress is a big one for me. When I'm sleepy right before bed and while in deep thought at work, when working on a project. Yeah. So let's see what we've got here. For those that have completed the poll, we've got about 8% bored, hangry, paying attention to something else. So a whole bunch little down there. The majority is when people are tired you need some energy, and about a third when you're feeling frustrated. Fantastic, great. So, the practice with mindful eating is really about just noticing, just paying attention. And we want to be as attentive to our world as possible, but do know you're not going to be paying all the time. We have a lot of distractions coming in. We have a lot on our plate, right? We have a lot of things that we want to address. The more and more that we can offer ourselves this beautiful opportunity to be right here, whether it's with eating or moving or having a conversation or driving, this is really how we show up for our life. And this is why I love the practice of mindfulness, right? I'm showing up to myself and my world. And it's also a huge way for us to take care of ourselves, right? When I get to know myself and what I need, what is really important now, it helps me to stay healthier, right? Mind, body, energy. And that also helps me to take care of everyone and everything else around me. So the practice of mindful eating is really offering appreciation for the food that we have right here. It's amazing. I don't know, is anybody here a gardener? Put a quick yes in the chat or maybe a reaction. Yeah, you know what it takes from this little tiny seed to grow this beautiful vegetable or plant or whatever it is, right? We have great pride in that. So we don't, we're not like gobbling it up then. We're really tasting the wonderfulness of it. But we're not growing everything, right? We have people that are doing that. Thank you for growing our food. Thank you for keeping us healthy. So even if you're not providing it out of your garden, you went to the grocery store, you went to the farmer's market, whatever, you're providing it for your family and you worked hard for that. So giving ourselves that appreciation of the food also gives us appreciation for ourselves. So being fully present to what we're eating, how we're eating is so key. So I'm going to ask you, if you have a piece of food somewhere, we're going to maybe practice with it a little bit right here and right now. And if you don't worry about it. You can just imagine. So one of the other things with food is that we have a lot of thoughts about it. We have a relationship with our food. Some of us, as I said to begin with, my relationship to food wasn't always very healthy. I saw it as a way that I could comfort myself, when I was lonely or I was sad or I was upset with something. It gave me a sense of comfort. But then at a certain point, I realized there's some other way that I want and need to take care of myself. But I still want to give myself a lot of compassion for however I'm having my emotion, right? So we don't want to judge ourselves. We don't want to blame or shame or say you shouldn't. Mindfulness is all about being right here with a kind, compassionate, understanding response to it. And part of that practice is to know what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, not just the good things, but also the things that aren't working so well, the tough moments, the edges. Right? And we put down the need for us to change ourselves and be perfect. We can just give an understanding and give that compassionate response to who and how we are. So the physical sensations of eating mindfully, question for you, share in the chat. How do you know that you're hungry? What's a signal that you get? What's a sign that you get? Could be in your body, could be in your head. How do you know that you're physically hungry, I'll say? You feel a blood sugar drop. Yeah, maybe you get a little shaky, maybe you get a little dizzy. You move in a certain way, you're like, ooh, whoa, I've got to hold on. My tummy tells me so. Someone else is sharing. Yeah, maybe you've got a sensation of growling. or just this little movement in there saying, please feed me. My stomach gets tight. You get a headache. Yes. Get a little achy. Awesome. So it's important to kind of recognize, what does it feel like for us to feel physically hungry? Because sometimes we might eat even though we're not. We can eat by a schedule. We can eat because the food is there. And with mindful eating, I'm first recognizing, am I physically hungry? And how physically hungry am I? Right? There's like a 1 to 10 scale of hunger. 1 being, not hungry at all. 10 being really, really hungry. And that 3 to 7 area is like, okay, my body's saying I need something. So we look to our body for us to signal, what am I hungry about? What's that level? And then also asking, well, what am I actually hungry for? So this can really give us a cue and a clue about, am I physically hungry or emotionally? So when you're physically hungry, would you prefer like an orange or an apple or a bag of chips or a bowl of ice cream? Okay, which one, are we more likely to kind of want? We're probably more likely to want something that's going to organically give me that nutrition in there. Yeah, that fruit, right? Yeah. Maybe a piece of protein or something like that, right? Because I'm physically hungry. So when we're emotionally hungry, we tend to move towards those sweets, those sugars. When we're stressed, give me some energy sort of thing. So first, looking at, how hungry am I and what am I hungry for? So this can give us a cue and clue about whether it's physical hunger or maybe something that's more of a triggering response. And then we also want to understand, what does it feel like to feel full? So what does it feel like for you to feel full? Can you tell, as one of my teachers used to say, when you're 5 bites from full, which I always thought was interesting, because I really need to reflect on myself and my body. When I'm in 5 bites, I'm going to be full. And this, I think, is equally important as what hunger looks like. One of the things I'll share with you, again, about my world and my life, that what I've noticed is that I will eat and then I'll be full, but sometimes I can still have that tendency to keep eating, because I'm eating this amazing salad that I love. It's my favorite thing to eat, and I don't want to waste it, something like that. So sometimes I'll just keep eating. And then when I get so full, it doesn't register with my mind anymore that it is time to stop. So again, I'm just bringing awareness of it. Somebody sharing lack of interest on what's on the plate. Yeah, I don't really need this anymore. So this can be another thing that we want to check out for ourselves. Hey, I can just put that aside. I'm all done. I can wrap it up. I can eat it later, right? I've got enough energy. When we tend to overeat, we feel more lethargic. So I find that I feel better and lighter when I'm eating slower and less, right? All right, so then the food yourself, if you have a piece of food right here with you, put what that is in the chat. What do you have right there with you? I have a peach. It's peach season. Absolutely wonderful. Fresh peaches right off the tree. A fig bar, love that. Just scrambled some eggs, fantastic. Greek yogurt. All right. So let's have a little practice. And if you don't have any food, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. You can imagine that you have something right here. I'll share my peach with you because I want to share this food with you. It's beautiful. So the first thing that we do with mindful eating is we just notice the food, right? After we notice ourselves, we notice the food. what is this? What is the shape? What is the color? What is the scent of it? What is it taste like when we're eating it? When I'm feeling the side of the peach, it's all fuzzy. You see lots of different colors in here. I can imagine the tree that this came from in my local area. Smelling, can smell a little bit of that peach, and then noticing my body. I always find this to be super interesting. I'm already salivating about this. I'm already anticipating this food. My body's saying yes, right? So if I were to break this open or take a bite of this, it would really offer a lot of senses on my tongue, in my mouth, and we just chew our food slowly, just noticing the first bite, the second bite, the third bite, the whole first series of bites. What does it taste like? How is it being absorbed in our body? What is it offering us for energy? And yes, this is a slower practice, so I'm kind of going through it slower, but just to realize, wow, all the gifts of nature and people that came to bring this to my plate. Wow. Let me take a moment and really slow myself down and enjoy it. Right? So we have moments with our first bite, with our second bite, with our third bite. So feel free to have that bite. Maybe there's something you'd like to share in the chat about how it feels, what it tastes like. See if there's anything surprising in there. Feel that nutrition already coming in our body, the goodness of the earth on our plate. So developing that connection with food, right? That mindful connection. Start small, right? Start with maybe the first 3 bites of a meal, the first 3 minutes. And just notice yourself in relationship to it. Notice the food. Notice how you feel. Notice the first flavor to the second flavor to the third flavor. And then notice the last bites that you take, right? Maybe bite 26, 27, and 28. They're different. They're very different than the first, second, and third, right? Because we've become more satiated. Our palate has changed, right? There's not so much anticipation about it, right? But we can still be aware, this food, how it's changing in our body. It's offering yourself a place to sit and eat with your mindful meal or your mindful snack. Something that is away from screens, something that's away from distractions. Maybe you have a favorite tree that you'd like to sit by, or out in the sun, or at your dining room table or something like that. Just sitting down, because we tend to gobble our food when we are moving around and we're standing. So having a place, this is my special mindful eating place, can really help us to create a beautiful routine with that. Take your time. Don't rush, and chew your food. So it doesn't have to be methodically slow. But I like to sort of make a little game out of it sometimes, because I like to bring fun into the things that I'm looking to bring in health and well-being for myself. When my kids were younger, I have 3 boys, and my youngest used to, chomp, chomp, swallow. That was it. And I'd be like, what? You don't have teeth inside your belly, right? Slow down. So we came up with this really fun game where 20 times for that one bite of a sandwich, can we chew it 20 times? So we'd have a little contest around that. And it helped him to slow down eating. And then that gives us better digestion, right? We're already absorbing nutrients of the food as well. Does the type of food make a difference? Somebody's asking. Yeah, of course, if you're having soup or something, yogurt, you're not chewing it as much as you are bringing it into your mouth with a spoon or swallowing it. So yeah, you take your time with whatever that type of food is. Great question. Love that. The same thing when we're drinking, right? We can drink some apple juice or orange juice or whatever that is. And we can just be mindful of the drinking, right? The anticipation, the desire, and that I'm doing coming into our body. Being aware of your hunger level, your fullness feelings as well. This is, again, another way that we can connect to food and really the nutrition and the value, the energy that we want from our food. I love to journal about my food as well, with your emotions. How do I feel? What did I like? What did I appreciate? And of course, bringing in some gratitude. So the benefits of practicing mindful eating, just take one meal and experiment. Bring a sense of fun to it. It's going to help us with our digestion. We'll probably make, decisions about the type of food that I eat. I'll be able to notice when I'm physically hungry and I need that energy versus, I'm probably looking for something sweet or crunchy. And maybe I'm feeling stressed, or I'm going to go for a walk instead, right? Or maybe I'm really just thirsty instead. Coming to relationship with your emotions is a super important thing as well. Give yourself that loving kindness, right? Give yourself that compassion. And, what type of response would be good for me, for my emotions, right? My emotions are wonderful. What are we doing with them? Let's take care of ourselves with them. And then overall, your health and well-being. Try it for a week. See how it works for you. Again, it's all an experiment. So we have a last poll for you. I'm going to give you some suggestions, some ideas, but you can completely, maybe you've discovered something else for you. What's one thing that you are committed to experimenting with? So Kai's going to put up the next poll. And here's, again, just some ideas. I love the fact that it's a new month beginning. I love to do something for a whole month. So maybe you want to challenge yourself or commit yourself for 1 month to do a mindful eating practice. Or maybe it's just a week, right? Or maybe it's just a day, but we've got to start somewhere. And it keeps us inspired. So Kai, if you can put that second poll up, that would be great.
Poll is active. I'm seeing some votes come in.
Yeah. All right. I'm not seeing the poll, so.
All good.
Great. So you can
I'll read them off for you. We got a vote for sitting to eat with no screen or distraction. Majority so far looking at noticing the first 3 and last 3 bites of one meal / snack for a week. If you're having trouble finding the poll, you can navigate to the apps button at the bottom right of your WebEx. And there should be a feature called Slido if it didn't automatically populate the chat for you.
Yeah, so the choices are sitting to eat with no screen or distraction, noticing the first 3 bites and the last 3 bites of a meal or snack just for 1 week, committing to not eating when I'm not physically hungry, right? So maybe I'm going to take care of myself in some other way, caring for my emotions in a way other than with food, having a mindful meal with my family, which is always super fun. Definitely bring this in to your family. And yeah, so those are some of the choices that we've created. Looks like we've got 33%, about a third of us saying, you know what, I'm going to notice the first and the last 3 bites of a meal. Fantastic. Have fun with that. 25% not eating when you're not physically hungry. And 19% caring for your emotions in another way other than food. So great. So have fun with this. Play with it. Again, we just bring our beautiful self-awareness and compassion to ourselves and our eating.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Shanti, for an incredible mindful connection to food presentation. But don't go quite yet, everybody. You can see a QR code by entering. All right, we're already getting some claps coming in. Thank you. Yeah, let's give it up for Shanti in the chat, everybody. You see the QR code on your screen. Please fill that out, and you will give us feedback on the effectiveness of these webinars to make sure we're giving you guys exactly what you need and want to live better lives and work-life balance. Doing so will enter into a raffle for 1 free hour with Shanti as a consultation sponsored by BLI. So definitely fill out that survey and stick around for a little bit, because what we're going to do is we're going to show a preview of next month's webinar, Suicide Identification and Prevention with Cindy Sheriff. Shanti, you can go ahead and press play.
Have you ever wondered if a simple conversation could save a life? Every 40 seconds, someone in the world dies by suicide. And yet, so often the signs go unnoticed. Well, my name is Cindy Sheriff, and I've had a passion for this topic most of my professional career. In fact, I am now the chairman of the board of a national suicide prevention organization called the Jason Foundation. Next month, I'll be presenting a webinar on this topic. It's not a comfortable topic to talk about, but it is necessary. So I hope you'll join us as we dive into the powerful ways that you can recognize these signs, offer support, and truly make a difference. Whether it's for yourself or someone you care about, knowing what to say and what to do may be the key for saving a life. So join us as we break the silence and bring hope to where it's needed the most.
Fantastic. And once again, that is, it can be a difficult conversation. But again, it's about coming to the table to normalize the mental health conversation and to really have an open discussion about it. So, and I just did a podcast interview with Cindy on this very topic, and it was very eye-opening. So again, in the chat, you can see a link to the survey to enter a raffle. And also there will be some links to register for next month's webinar. And there is a link to Shanti's website, 8limbsholistic.health.com. And I will send out as well in that link, link to our podcast, and to keep up with Wendy and I on work-life balance. So it looks like there might be a survey link issue. If there is, we will be sure to send that out in a follow-up email for you guys. So definitely let me know in the chat if you're having trouble accessing that QR code. And yeah, again, let's give it up for Shanti one more time. Thank you so much. Shanti, go ahead and leave the QR code up for everybody, and enjoy the long weekend, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a super, super long weekend. Be playful with mindful eating and enjoy. Take care.